Everyone. When it comes to our human life, we mistakenly think that we will live a very long time because we are breathing right now. However, our life is very short. That is why God had compassion on mankind, who has such a pitiful destiny. He came to this earth again in the flesh and said, "Do not be satisfied with the fleeting moments. Come towards the eternal world that surely exists." Didn't he proclaim the truth for this reason? Let's look at the words of God written in Ezekiel 34, verse 4. "You have not strengthened the weak, or healed the sick, or bound up the injured. You have not brought back the strays or searched for the lost. You have ruled them harshly and brutally. So they were scattered because there was no shepherd. And when they were scattered, they became food for all the wild animals. My sheep wandered over all the mountains, and on every high hill. They were scattered over the whole earth, and no one searched or looked for them." About 2,000 years ago, Jesus preached the gospel of the new covenant on this earth. After he ascended to heaven, and even after the apostles and their disciples all passed away, around the 4th century, the truth began to be abolished rapidly. From the spiritual point of view, it is a situation where the sheep are exposed to all the wild animals. In other words, God's people are in a situation where their souls are being plundered. At that time, who will come to seek them? Let's look at verse 11. Chapter 34, verse 11. "For this is what the sovereign Lord says, I myself will." What will God do? God said, "I will search for them. I myself will search for my sheep and look after them. As a shepherd looks after his scattered flock when he is with them, so will I look after my sheep. I will rescue them from all the places where they were scattered on a day of clouds and darkness." In the Bible, a day of clouds and darkness indicates the last days. I will rescue them from all the places on a day of clouds and darkness, that is, in the last days. Verse 13, "I will bring them out from the nations and gather them from the countries, and I will bring them into their own land. I will pasture them on the mountains of Israel, in the ravines, and in all the settlements in the land. I will tend them in a good pasture, and the mountain heights of Israel will be their grazing land. There they will lie down in good grazing land, and there they will feed in a rich pasture on the mountains of Israel. I myself will," what will he do? "Tend my sheep." This prophecy is not fulfilled in spiritual form. Spiritually, God is always our shepherd. He is always with us and never leaves us even for a moment. Thus, when he said, "I myself will tend my sheep," it means that he will come to this earth putting on the tent of flesh. The prophet Ezekiel continues to prophesy God's coming to this earth in verse 23. "I will place over them one shepherd, my servant," who? David, "and he will tend them." In verse 15, God said, "I myself will tend my sheep." But in verse 23, God said, "My servant David will tend them." He will, what will he do? Tend them and be their shepherd. In verse 24 it says, "I, the Lord, will be their God, and my servant David will be prince among them. I, the Lord, have spoken." God himself came to this earth in the flesh to restore the truth that had been taken away and brought it back to us.